Okay, so as a creator, a lot of times I have to look at, pay attention to, and watch different stuff that I enjoy and I like watching and everything. And I don't believe a lot of y'all when it comes to writing and creating, especially in the community that I'm in with other writers. Because some of the stuff that y'all just let go and let pass, I always say this either because y'all are looking for jobs or you just not as good of a writer as you say you are. And I know I shouldn't say stuff like that, but most folks don't like. Most of them don't like me anyway. So let's just go ahead and get it in where it's at. Um, and so my thing is the things that you let go when it comes to writing and it comes to pacing is crazy. Now I understand that you can separate being a fan and you can separate being a writer. I'm fine with that. But my issue is when your fandom or what you've grown up liking, you can't separate it from what's not correct or bad. What I'm be talking about is X-Men 97, season 1 compared to season 2. Because there's a thing, I shared this post, and the post was basically about, hey, look, Bo DeMille said they was doing certain things. They wanted to go into the onslaught part, and people are taking it somewhere that I'm not taking it. I'm not talking about DeMille's Freaky Frog business. That's his business. They go on the trial with that next year. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about him not being there and the change in which happened in season 2. Now, there's a lot of splaining that people are doing. There's a lot of splaining saying that, oh, well, season 1 had that kind of pace and stuff. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that because you like the thing, especially from other writers. You like a thing and you can't separate your emotions, so therefore I don't trust you. If you like it and it's garbage, it's okay to like it and it's garbage. I like plenty of things that's garbage. I always use the example that I don't love, but I really like Project Pat's music. I like it. It goes against a lot of stuff that I say I'm against and everything. Project Pat is a garbage rapper. Like he's not really the most creative. He's straight down the line. Some of his raps, he forces bars to where certain things don't rap, but because of his draw and the way he speaks, he'll draw it out and he'll make it rhyme and stuff like that. Fine, technically, whatever. To me, I think Project Pat is not a good rapper, but I like Project Pat's music, some of his music, like a lot of it. Like I like it, but I don't think he's a good rapper. Even some other Mafia people, I like some of their music, but I don't think they're good rappers. Just because I like it isn't going to make me change that they're like on a Jay-Z level when it comes to lyricism, creativity, stuff like that. Storytelling. No, they're not. And I don't even like Jay-Z like that. So I understand the contradictions that come along with these things. Again, before I get into this, my issue is that you will tell me there's something that is objectively off. Like it doesn't make sense. I see it. I don't even think hard about it that I'm wrong. And maybe it's all subjective. Who knows? But let's get into this. The whole through line of season 1 is Magneto Xavier relationship tested from episode 1 all the way to the finale. The other part was the Summers family thread running underneath. It was Cyclops, Jean, Baby Nathan, Cable. The other part about it was we just knocking out the through lines. Sentinels, Bastion, Operation Zero Tolerance as an outside institutional threat. That's what was going on. Now, when they talk about season 1 had these things going on too, yes, season 1 had the whole Goblin Queen, Mr. Sinister arc, Jubilee subplot. That was messy. I remember that. But they brought everything back around when it came to Magneto's return, to heroism, all that stuff, and Xavier enters his mind, and Bastion destroyed Asteroid M, gravity drives hit, all that stuff. Magneto ends up with amnesia. Professor X is consoling him, telling him the X-Men is his family. Like, just knocking it out real quick, right? I'm just knocking it out real quick. And maybe I should slow down. The Xavier Magneto mind merge fracture both of their psyches, right? That's in season 1. And that's the consistent theme paying off. And so the cliffhanger is the whole Asteroid M fight. Wolverine gets his stuff pulled out. the team gets scattered all through ever in Egypt, and then Cyclops and Jean them in the future with Apocalypse. That's season 1. It all came back. The beginning was Summer's family, first, Magneto, issues with Professor X and everything, teaching at the school and everything. That's the whole through line, and it makes it to the end. Magneto is fighting the X-Men after everything that was going on with how the story started. It was messy, but it started, got a little shaky in the end with some of the stuff with Jubilee and all this other stuff that's running around like I was talking about and everything. Got a little silly, but in the end, it's still finished where it started. Magneto Xavier, we got this issue, bashing into other stuff. Summers family, still there. It's still there. No matter what you say, it's still there. It still happened that way. And as a writer, I'm looking at those consistencies because we know beginning, middle, end. We know beginning, middle, end. Do we know the end and do we know the beginning? The middle is where people can kind of drop off. And some people, I understand that they put some stuff in the middle to where it seemed a little off. But to say that everything in season 1 was just as wild as season 2, come on now. So let's go into season 2 real quick. Season 2 opens up Summers family in the future with their kid, Magneto, Xavier, Rogue, and their other crew in the past. The season centers on Apocalypse as they try to find their way back to the 1990s. Now, that's where you're like, hey, this is what's happening. Continuation from the first season. Continuation to where's Summers family, baby Nathan Cable, Apocalypse, future, Magneto, Xavier, Apocalypse, past. Get to the 90s, all dealing with Age of Apocalypse, all this other stuff. Everything is fine. We see what's going on. Then we make this hard pivot into Wolverine, Weapon X, Sabretooth arc. And that's more like a spin-off, right? So it's like, okay, whatever. Gambit gets resurrected as an Apocalypse Horseman villain mid-season. And the thing is, people will talk about, well, Gambit was a horseman and he was this and that. I understand that. All of that is fine. Nobody's talking about that. The finale becomes a Rogue Beast Nightcrawler rescue mission built around Celestials. Rogue bargains with a Celestial named Isan. You know, the one that was causing all kind of problems, I think, even in the movie and stuff. But Nightcrawler ends up sacrificing himself instead. So I'm like, okay, Apocalypse himself gets an underwhelming send-off too. There's no real showdown with him, especially after the big scene with Xavier and Magneto in Rise of Apocalypse episode and stuff. You're telling me that all that made sense, that all that was fine and everything was good. It started one way and it ended flat. And as a writer, you're supposed to know that it fell off. And before I even get into that, let me dial back and talk about the alleged Freaky Frog, Bo DeMaio. And he says the original season 2 was supposed to feature Onslaught and the whole Age of Apocalypse thing, but Marvel scrapped it and cut the season to from 10 episodes to 9. So he claims that the whole season got rewritten after they blew up episode 10, which had been, I believe, a payoff to build up Onslaught. His intended finale had Onslaught taking over Xavier's mind and attacking Graydon Creed's inauguration in DC. That's the version that would have closed the whole Magneto Xavier loop the way season 1 set it up. So you're telling me the crap that happened at the end of season 2 was fine? And that makes sense. Now, again, this is more of, as a creator, as a fan, whatever, right? You just watching it, this and that. I'm not watching it as just a fan, and to act like that I am would be dishonest. I'm not. So when I complain about certain things, it's also a reflection of me watching the things that I do and trying to clean up what's going on. And so season 1 with DeMaio had one writer's vision, tight through line, got a little silly throughout the way. And then season 2, someone else finished the scripts, gutted, rewrote, all the other stuff, and you can feel and see exactly where the original should have ended. Again, you're telling me that I'm not seeing that from season 1 Xavier, Magneto issues, Summers family issues and drama. End of season 1. We go into the next season. We begin, same thing. Magneto, Apocalypse, Xavier, Summers family, Apocalypse. Then it ends with Nightcrawler, Gambit, and Rogue. So this goes into some of the other things when it comes to writers. And when we're talking about, especially in the Black community, which I'm seeing, most of y'all don't like correction. You feel like you know everything that's going on and you just know about this, that, this, and you let your emotions, because you can't see past how you feel about a thing, or because you think you know information that this thing is not structurally correct. And I think it goes into the writing. Like when I say I don't agree with writers, because I see the things they justify, and it makes me question their writing, because you justify it and you can't separate it from being a fan. So then it goes into the writing, and why a lot of Black creators is just floundering and their stories don't get talked about. Our stories don't get talked about because we can't explain what's going on, and we can't even spot issues in other stories. We'll explain it with a bunch of notes and facts about what's going on, and this is that, and this, but structurally, does the story make sense? Beginning, middle, end. And if at the beginning the story was telling me something and it was showing me it was going to be a payoff with one thing, you can't drop me at the end and think I'm going to be fine with that, or think that the reader is going to be fine with that. But you got all these facts. The story is this, and this character turned to this, and this character got this power, and this character did this with this person. But did you give me the payoff in the end that you were promising me in the first and opening act? You did not. And in X-Men 97 season 2, it did not. The first one did. It was all over. It was a little messy in the middle, but it did. The beginning was, again, and I keep saying this because as a writer, I've been really researching movies and reading and looking at where's the payoff, where's the structure in this thing. Because even in arcs, there's a beginning, middle, and end. And then even in specific arcs, there's still a beginning, middle, and end. And there's payoffs on each one. Some of them may take a little bit longer, but these payoffs still need to happen, and they still need to be explained. And in season 2, it was not. It didn't. It went off the rails. It went off the rails from, hey, Summers family, Xavier, Magneto, Apocalypse, to Rogue, Gambit, and Nightcrawler being the ending folks, and the other folks are just kind of hanging back. As a watcher, that's not what you told me. That did not pay off the way it was supposed to. As a fan, if you were fine with that, hey, that's all well and good. But the story, the writers, and they changed what DeMaio had. He had leading up to Apocalypse, Crash and the Creed, inauguration and everything. That all of that would have lined up with everything the way it started, but they changed it. So as a writer, if you're going along with and co-signing this stuff, I can't trust your opinion on nothing. And I'm just going to be straight up. I don't trust your opinion on nothing. I'm not listening to what you say, and I'm not going to trust even your opinion on your writing, even with mine personally. Let's turn this in on me. Turn it on me. It's like I have to make sure that what I promised at the beginning is what I'm giving. If we're promising that, hey, TJ or Damien are going to find out what's going on with their family or something, we need to make it get to that. If the issue is TJ is trying to figure out how to deal with this inheritance of his, which is these Void Beast powers, and having access that no other Void Beast has. If he's also trying to figure out how he's dealing with his powers, and understanding that, hey, I know you want to jump in front of and you want to help people, but you also, sir, you also have to take the help that they're giving you. Because if you keep going at this alone, you're going to have issues, no matter how powerful you may be. Because you're not a hero that's just going to go out and hurt people and everything because of the way that your powers work. You can't do that. So you have to be open to taking this help from other people. And if you just keep going at it alone, you're going to have problems. And so the setup is TJ is dealing with this, but he's also denying help from other people in the name of helping people. So at the end, what's going to happen to him? If he just gets out scot-free and everything happens, or somebody else just comes, or somebody that wasn't built into the story just pops up and helps him, it doesn't make sense. So TJ would have to go through something to show him that, hey, you can do this, but you're going to have a problem because you're not listening to the other people, and in your pain of the past of not wanting to have anybody else go through what you went through, and you trying to jump out there and defend and help people, you can mess up the situation and you can end up hurting yourself in the end as well. And if we don't have that set up and payoff, then the readers and everybody is going to notice that. And I think that's part of the reason that Black creators don't get no kind of shine, because we read things from an emotional standpoint. And it's not just Black, it's anybody. But this is the circle that I'm in. So please, if you hear this, it's not necessarily like a race thing or anything like that. It's just that these are the circles that I'm in, and this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm personally seeing. So it's not just Black, any writer, right? Any writer. But again, these are the people that I'm seeing and that come onto my post and talk to me about these things. We have all these facts in the world and the characters and the weapons and the stuff, and they look cool and all this other stuff, but the story doesn't follow the correct structure. There's not a beginning and there's not a payoff in the end. We're fine with starting and then going somewhere else and just getting to an end that didn't even pay off anything in which this character started with or what made sense. And then the end can be messy, but if you don't pay off that end, another thing, as a writer, you'll find out real quick that if that end don't pay off, everything else don't make sense. And people will try to tell you that, even like what's going on with X-Men 97, that, oh, it was fine and this and that and everything was good and it was the same thing at the first season. It was not, because the first season stuck that ending. It stuck it. I'm not saying everything was perfect, but I'm saying that it stuck the ending of what it started with. Xavier was gone, Magneto coming in. We know the differences between the two of them. They still having issues. Everybody is still kind of like, I'm with you, I'm not with you. We don't know what's going on. We want Xavier back. Xavier don't need to be back. If they come back, it's going to be issue. Charles wouldn't have done it like that. All of these things are going on. Get to the end with the Asteroid M stuff in the fight that they all go through because of what's going on with the amnesia and Magneto and Xavier going back and forth. It's what started the beginning. And then you even got the sideline with the Summers family dealing with Bastion and stuff. All of that happened. So to say that it was the same as season one is a lie. It's an outright lie, because you have a emotional parasocial connection to whatever you're watching. And you want me to go with it when I'm looking at it objectively, as a fan and objectively. As a fan, I love it being there. I love seeing the characters. I like the stuff that they brought in. I'm cool with that. But as a writer, no. It started one way, it ended completely somewhere else, where the people that you started with, that we were watching, had nothing to do with it. It's hard for me to trust a lot of other indie writers and their opinions, because structurally they can't even break down what's going on, and they're going about, well, the comics had this and this had that and this had this and this, but did it make sense? No, it didn't. I don't care what you said. As a fan, I like it. It was cool. It was cool seeing Celestials and all that other stuff, but it didn't have anything to do with what they promised us. And what they promised us was Magneto and Xavier having issues, and the Summers family tying these issues, both of them having these issues and getting us to the end. And everything was there to set up. You went off and turned it into Gambit coming back, Apocalypse taking his body, all this other stuff, and Rogue, and that wasn't what was going on. And so now you're telling me, well, season 3 and all this other stuff. No. I'm going by what you gave me. That's it. So it is what it is. I appreciate y'all coming through. I think it's important to study and look at these things as a creator and understand what's going on around you, and watching and being able to separate from being a fan and a writer. Because as a fan, I'm with you. I love it. I love the stories. I need to see more. I hope they have another season, because I like these characters. I love these characters. But I also don't mind complaining and critiquing it as a writer, so that it helps me, so I can identify what I'm looking at, even for myself. And as always, I ain't the most articulate. I ain't just this or that. That's not how my mind works. If you come in here, you coming to see how my mind works, and that's how my mind works. If you want some of the other stuff, there's a bunch of other YouTubers and other people that can do it better than that, than me. Go get that. That's not my bird. I see a bunch of stuff going on at once, and then I can pull it all and put it out that way. So I thank you for kicking it with me. I'll come back with some other stuff. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.